Hi, in this episode of Toysbackzen, I've got a bunch of APCs. Some of them are in better condition than others, and I want to make a custom out of these APCs. So I have the gun for whichever one I decide to put together, and this one here has two tabs that are broken on the side, so we may need to fix those tabs. But I also have another APC over here. Let me just get this all clipped together. So this one here is actually in pretty good condition. The stickers are pretty good. It needs to be clean. These are all really dirty, but the stickers on this one are really good, where on the other one the stickers are pretty bad. But with this one here, it does have the front. The unfortunate thing is this is broken, and it does have the tabs that go into the body here pretty good. This one here has been burned or something like that. It looks like somebody took a lighter to that. Maybe some kid took a magnifying glass to the sun and see what it would do. So we have that. I might actually use this one because it does have the tabs that are, this one is burned, but it still actually works. And even though this is cracked, I can fix that. I'm just going to glue it, and you won't even notice when I'm done because I'm actually going to make a custom out of this. I'm going to be painting pretty much the canopy here, this top here, and I'm going to be painting it a green. Now this APC here does have the steering wheel, which is awesome, but neither one of these have the seat belts. So I'm going to have to make the seat belts, and I'm going to be painting this a matte green. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because there was a Mailaway, I think from 1990, I think from 1991 to 1994, they had a Mailaway of the APC. And in 1994, it was exactly the same Mailaway, but for some reason, they changed the color of the canopy or the top of this to a matte green, and they changed the colors of the wheels here, or the hubs. They changed that to a dark gray, and I want to make that version of this vehicle. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some painting, we're going to do some cleaning. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this because this is obviously had some sun damage, so painting this will be nice. I can use this one some other time, fix the clips on it, and it'll actually look like a nice APC. But this one here I'm going to be using. Now I'm going to be using the steering wheel. I'm going to be using this. I'm going to be using the gun here, and I'm going to be using the front from this one. But I'm going to be putting it on this vehicle here. Now, all of these vehicles are the Canadian version. I was hoping to get like a US version because my original one that I got from my collection, I think I got this one probably about 18 years ago. You can see it here. It's a pretty good condition. I bought this from a lot on eBay back then. It's really dusty, so I'm going to have to clean it up. But what it does have is it does have the original unbroken seat belts. So I'm going to use these seat belts as a guide to make some new ones. And you'll see, if you've never seen these before, I'm sure you have, but let's take a look at it. We got one side here, it's got a 90 degree there that goes down. We've got another side here that's got a peg that goes down. So we'll have to measure this to see how long it is, get a peg on the piece that I make, and then have another piece that goes 90 degrees here. And in case you don't know how that works, the seat belts, they just tab in the round part tabs into here, and then the flat part tabs into here. And those will hold your G.I. Joes in place when they're sitting. Now, I usually don't use these because I'm afraid they will break, so I just kind of put them in there, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be using this as a template since this is the better one out of the two. So that's all the things I'm going to do with this. First, I have to go find some paint. So I want to try to match the green, but this green here is really shiny, and what they did is they painted it like a matte finish. So I want to do the same thing. It doesn't matter if the green is matte, but I will be putting a matte clear coat over top of it, or at least a semi-gloss. But I think I'm going to use matte because that's what they did in 1994. Like I said, it was a Mailaway. They actually called it not an APC, they called it a CUDA when they changed the color. Now I haven't been able to find any pictures of this Mailaway on Google, on eBay, sold eBay items. I couldn't find an example of it except for on Yojo. That was the only place that I could find any information on that vehicle. So I am going to customize it and make it look like that. So I'll put a picture up here and let you see that. First of all, before I start making any parts, I'm going to get this in a sink with hot soapy water in it, and we'll get this all cleaned out. It's pretty gross, pretty disgusting, very dirty. And we'll get this ready to be painted, and I have to glue this too, so we'll start with cleaning it first. So now that everything is nice and clean, I get all the grime and dust, and something was on the inside of this, some kind of oil or something. So it's nice and clean now. And there's a few things I did to it. While I was cleaning it, I realized that there was a bunch of screws that held this piece into the body. And you can see that there. I unscrewed it just to check to see how it came apart. I didn't even realize it came apart. So if you're going to customize this and you wanted to paint the base but leave the inside seats and the driver seats and everything the same color, you could customize this pretty good. Now, I do want to paint the wheels because this custom is a replica of a 1994 Mailaway, and the rims were a different color. Instead of green, they were gray. And I'll show you that here in a second. I took a wheel. I have a broken wheel, and I took that apart to see if I could get the hub out of there so that I could just paint those separate. But those don't come out, and I'll show you that here in a sec. So just a bunch of screws holds that in place. And if you wanted to make like a Night Force, you could take this off, paint this the black, and then this accessory and this accessory are like a fluorescent orange or red. And so it's possible to take this apart and paint these separate so that it's not still stuck in the vehicle. And then of course this comes off too. So let's get this glued really quickly, and then I got some really great paint, and we're going to paint this vehicle. So I found this paint at my local store, at my Canadian Tire. It's just like a everything store. And this is Krylon Camouflage Ultra Flat, which is pretty awesome. And it's pretty close to the green that the vehicle is. And I think this is going to look really good. Now, if it's too flat, if it's too ultra flat, I did buy some more of the satin clear. I had some satin clear that I was using for a different project, and the nozzle gummed up, and then it wouldn't spray any paint out, and it was pretty much a brand new can, which is annoying. So I got another thing of clear. So let's get some glue here and glue that piece, and then I'll be ready to paint it this green. Okay, so the cover is painted and it's all dry. I'll show you that in a minute, but I want to address this piece here and the stickers. The stickers are actually in really good shape, and most people would be like, oh, I'm going to replace those with repro stickers. I like keeping the original stickers if the paint is still good, and we all know that with G.I. Joe stickers, over time the dirt collects around the edge of the sticker because the stickers can move from play over time, and you get a bunch of this raised residue from the sticker. Now, there's a way to clean that off, and I'm just going to use some Zippo lighter fluid. And you have to be careful. You don't want to take the ink or the paint off of the sticker. You just want to go around the edge of the sticker and clean that off. So I'm going to show you on this sticker here because it's probably the worst out of all of them. And I'm just going to go around the edge very carefully, and I'm just going to clean that off. Sometimes you have to add a little pressure to it. I'm trying not to like go onto the paint of the sticker, and just clean that up. Now it can de-glue the sticker or it can make it so that the sticker doesn't stick anymore, because it will go underneath the sticker. But if you can see here, you can see how it's cleaning that right up, taking all of that white dirt or whatever that is, probably calcium from some kind of water. This thing does float. I remember playing with this toy in my pool, and I used all of my G.I. Joe toys in the pool. If you saw my review on the water moccasin, the newer water moccasin, and some of those figures there, my vintage torpedo, I talk about that. So that just cleans all of that off, and if you just take a dry rag and just wipe that, it looks really good. There's still some white there, and I could continue washing that off by applying more and more lighter fluid to that, and eventually that'll all come off. Like that. So that's a huge improvement to what it was. But I'm going to do like this one here. There's a little bit here on the edge, and if we turn it around, there's a little bit here that I can do, and that'll clean all those stickers up. So this is the top that I painted. This is a Krylon Ultra matte green camouflage, and I think it turned out amazing. Look at that color. Now, I was going to actually use some satin if I didn't like the ultra matte, but the ultra matte makes it look like a canvas. It gives it that almost canvas kind of look to it. No shine. It's really, really matte. And this is durable paint. I tried scraping the paint on the bottom here with my finger, and it's not coming off. I'm sure if I did it hard enough and long enough, it would come off. So this is really good paint. So I'm not going to put a clear coat on it. I think it will look fantastic like this. You can see some of the paint that was on the original tan and the dark tan. You can actually see some of that pattern that they did on it. And that's pretty cool. I like the fact that you can kind of see that through that. You can see those patterns. So that turned out really well. I couldn't be happier with that. It really turned out really good. And we can put the gun turret on there. I'm going to put that in there like that. And that's what that looks like. Cool. So there was a little sticker here. And we're talking stickers, so I really think that it's important for the history of the toy not only to keep the original stickers if they're good enough to keep, but also keep the stickers where they have been found. And this sticker was on this cover right here. So I'm going to put that back on. It says caution. It makes sense. You would want a caution sign underneath that turret. Don't get too close. So we'll apply that on there with a little bit of glue stick. So another thing I want to talk about is this is the Mailaway version from the late 90s that I'm making. I couldn't find any information on it. I couldn't find any information in any of the books that I have. And the only place I found information on it is Joe, and I'm just going by what Joe has said about this toy. They say that the hubs were painted a dark gray. Now, to paint these hubs, for me anyway, I would want to take them off and paint them, but they don't come off, and I'm going to show you why they don't come off. Here is an old wheel that I had from an old beat up APC. These wheels were broken off, so I didn't break them off. The axles on the APC were completely broken. These don't come off the axles, and if they do, I couldn't get them off. So, and this is the reason why I can't get the hubs out. Those hubs fit in here, and they've been plastic welded in there. There's no way to get them. You'd have to drill through. You'd have to take them off the axle, drill through here, and push on this and try to make that come out. And I just think that's going to ruin the wheel, ruin the tire perhaps, and then you'd have to glue them back on, and I'm not going to do that. So what's the next best thing? We could tape all of these individually and then spray paint them, or just paint them with some enamel. I've got my enamel paints that I haven't used yet, and I want to use those enamel paints. They're amazing paints. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to concoct a dark gray using some black and white, and we're going to tape these up and paint them. There, I finished cleaning all the residue around the stickers, and you can see how that makes a huge difference in the displayability of this toy with the original stickers. They look really good, and I got the inside in there. Next thing we have is the steering wheel. The steering wheel fits in there like this. Get the steering wheel. Now, before I put the rest of it together, we need to make some seat belts. This is what we have to make. Seems to be something that's going to be pretty easy to do. Let me go get some materials and see if we can make this. So I'm at the shop here, and I've got my piece from a good APC. I'm just going to measure it and see what the length is, because I got to cut some plastic that's the same length. So you can see there's about 28 centimeters, but we have to extend that a little bit because this piece is longer and we're going to bend that around. So we're probably looking at about 28.5 centimeters. So that's what I'm going to cut my pieces, maybe a little bit longer than that, and then I can cut them flush to the right length. I'm just going to use this lid. This lid seems to be about the same thickness as the original G.I. Joe piece. So here are the pieces here that I cut, and you'll see that they're roughly the same thickness, and they're a little bit longer because, like I said, we're going to be bending this plastic right here to make the shape, and that should fit right into the seats for the seat belt. Now, this is a little longer, and that's okay. I'll just use my nippers at the end to cut it. So let's do that now. Let's get that measured there. Let's make the other part that goes in the back of the seats. So I found actually something that looks just like it, just like that little tab, and I got these. I think this is Lego. It says Lego on it, and I think they're handlebars for a motorcycle, a Lego motorcycle. If you look at the diameter of that, it's exactly the same, and it has a round end on it too. There, that actually looks pretty good, looks pretty legit. Okay, next I gotta sand the other side, the little tabs that I made that bent over. I gotta sand those down a little thinner so they'll fit into the slot where it keys in for the seats. So there's our seat belts. We'll fit them in here. I'll show you how they work. Those Lego pieces were a perfect fit for these, and it fits in nicely like that. I'll turn this around, show you what how the other one fits. This one is a little tighter. And there we go. There is our seat belts. It probably took me about 10 to 15 minutes to make these. It took me longer just to figure out how I was going to do it and what kind of material I was going to use. But once I figured that out, which is done for you, you can just make these. Now, I am not going to paint these. That's how I would do it. And I'm not really going to paint them. I was going to maybe paint them the same color as the wheels. I'm going to paint these a dark gray. So let's do that. Let's paint these a dark gray, and then I'll reveal what it looks like. So I'm going to use this Tamiya paint X18 and X2, which is black and white. I'm going to create a gray. Now I started off thinking I was going to do a dark gray, but I'm actually going to do a light gray to match the seat belts. I think that'll look really nice. It will tie everything in together. Yeah. Doing wheels is super satisfying and really easy. You just put your paintbrush there and then turn the wheel and it pretty much does it for you. And I think that those wheels turned out really nice. And you'll see here that they do match the seat belts. If we look at the top, we'll see that the seat belts are roughly the same color as the hubs of the wheels. But the hubs are a little darker. I didn't want them too light on the hubs, but it kind of ties in that gray, and I think it looks really good. Let's get this top on and reveal the whole custom. There we go. There's our APC all finished. Look at this thing. It looks amazing. I love that ultra camouflage matte green that I got. It's a really great paint. I highly recommend it. I would use it again. Actually, I will be using it again. I've got some things going on. And you can see I did put the sticker back on that canopy there. You can see that in the front where it originally was. So I'm really happy with this. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of this, and if you've ever heard of this Mailaway from 1994, I think it was. Thanks for watching this episode of Toysbackzen. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check out my library. I have tons of videos in my library, and I've been doing this for 3 years, so if you've been sticking around that long, I appreciate it. And stay tuned for my next one coming up soon. See you later.